This is Eric at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm, and this is Florida Natural Farming. Today I'm going to go and look at the sugar apples, and I'm going to look at other Rollinias. I'm standing right in front of a big giant Annona mucosa, or whatever it's called now, Annona deliciosa, the Rollinia tree. We got a couple of large trees of this, and we grow everything naturally, so we try to mimic nature, how nature grows, and we try to remove ourselves from the system, so we do not water anything. Everything is all dry farmed, and probably if I had been watering these Rollinia trees, they would have fruit on them by now, because they're quite large. I mean, they're big trees, but I wasn't giving them a lot of organic matter. So pretty much the only input we use is we make small piles of compost next to trees that we want to fruit, or trees that are fruiting. We try to give a pile to each tree a year if it's fruiting. We only get 360 piles a year. It's basically when we clean out the barn. We use coastal Bermuda hay. It's the cheapest hay you can buy. It was approved to use for organic production in our system to make compost. So when we were organic certified, we are no longer. So this is like a pile here. So I've been given multiple piles of these for a while now, and they bloom year round, and I imagine fruit will come eventually. It's just, I don't see fruit yet, but they're pretty big trees, so there might be some fruit set up there, because there's a lot of flowers on these trees, and it's been very wet lately, so all the conditions, and hot and buggy, all the conditions are perfect. But I just wanted to start out showing those big Rollinia trees. We have some smaller Rollinia trees that are doing good. Look at this Cebu blue epipendrum. It's a variegated one from Ecuagenera. The leaves are getting quite large on it now. It's going up the tree. They get really long. Very easy to grow. The variegation hasn't been the best on this, but it does have variegation still coming out on it. So I imagine once it gets up into more sun, it will come out even stronger. The bananas are doing really good. We got lots of bananas. There's a little seed-grown peach tree that my friend Frank gave me. It bloomed for the first time this year, so I'm excited to see what that does in the future. We only have one. He gave me two, but I think only one survived. But it seems to do just fine, nematodes and all, on its own roots. So growing naturally, I found really enables the plant to overcome a lot of the stressors that people find in Florida, whether it's from lack of nutrients, or insects, or fungal disease. Because we focus on soil health, the trees are able to overcome abiotic and biotic obstacles that in most systems that don't look at soil health and still use pollutants to grow food cause problems. I'm going to look at some Garcinias, because I've been getting quite a few people wanting Garcinia seeds. We sell the fruit and the seeds. Really not selling any achachero seeds, but I do make an exception, like 1 or 2 fruit of this fruit, because I'm trying to plant all the seeds here this year, but when people come by, I let them taste the fruit, and of course I can't say give me the seed. So the fruit is very good on the achachero. Very, very nice fruit. So that's the achachero. We grow about, I would say, 40 different types of Garcinia trees. I'm working my way over to the Annonas. Hold up. But I want to look at this Garcinia macrophylla growing in here in this jungle. It's doing quite well. It's right here. It's got some new growth at the top, so that's good. It gets quite large leaves on it. I think the Garcinia macrophylla is going to be one of the next species to fruit here. The Luke's Garcinia, the Garcinia macrophylla, and the Garcinia acuminata are next on our list of Garcinias to fruit. We fruit 8 different Garcinia species right now. One of them is a hybrid of our own making, lemon drop mangosteen that's sweet, called Eric's Sweet lemon drop, but it is it only fruits once a year. The not the custard apple, but the egg fruit tree is got quite a bit of vines on it. I need to get off, but it's got lots of flowers. This tree produces a lot of fruit. This is a really good grafted variety called Delightful from Garden of Delights down in Homestead, I believe. No, yeah, Homestead. Or maybe Redlands, but down in Miami area. I got it from Garden of Delights. There's a little tiny grafted tree about 5 inches tall. Here's that Garcinia macrophylla from the other side. There's some of its leaves. The leaves are huge. It's supposed to be the best tasting Garcinia there is the macrophylla. It's just growing in the center of this heliconia. Plants do not compete with each other. That is so wrong. Yeah, plants can get smothered by other plants, and sometimes they compete, but I haven't noticed trees competing with each other ever here. And definitely the weeds don't compete with them. This is a big quaimuck tree I forgot to show on my quaimuck video, my last video, and this is a seed grown tree. This is the first tree I planted here. It was like this big. It was a tree I bought from Montosa Gardens back when they used to sell trees from Puerto Rico. This is a seed grown quaimuck also. This Monstera deliciosa is really looking good. Variegata, it's attached to the tree, and the variegation is really looking nice on it. Anyway, on to the Annonas. Just everything's looking so nice here. I've been trying to spread around lots of plumerias. So I've been doing plumeria cuttings and lots of cassava because the tropical storm Debbie caused a lot of wind event here. So I've been like breaking the cassava off and planting it. I need to move this plumeria, cut some of that plumeria, move it around. Anyway, stuff is looking good. I really don't have any other Annonas planted through here. I plant most of our Annonas in the front along 12th Street. So we're on 12th Street in Vero Beach. So back to the soil and how we grow. So the soil, is my understanding, is the guts and the brains of the plant. Much like our gut is connected to our brain. If you don't have proper soil health, your plant's not going to be able to signal correctly to its environment for a response or get a response to combat all the challenges it takes when you're growing outside here in Florida. And it really makes a difference what inputs you apply. So I don't care what anybody says. I know that cow manure is the best input, clean cow manure for growing tropical fruit trees, zebu manure in particular. And it turns into pure humus here. And you can start tropical fruit seeds in them. My friend Frank And his wife Annette, bless their hearts, brought me 5 little pink Ilamas seedlings that he started. He also told me that he has some button mangosteen, cherapoo seedlings, so he's going to bring some by as soon as they get big enough. I trade stuff for plants. That's what I like to do. Frank still hasn't moved away from plastic, probably because he has more than 500 plants in pots at any given time. It's just unbelievable the amount of stuff that he grows in pots. But he also has like 3 separate farms, 2 10-acre parcels and a 5-acre parcels that he's either started a food forest on or is planning to start a food forest on. And he grows with miniature zebus, and he makes compost out of their soil and makes his own soil. You really need to make your own soil. I like his soil. It's been a learning curve for both of us to try to perfect potting soil for these tropical fruit trees, and he's definitely got it down. I didn't always believe that, but so I plant Garcinias very close together, and this is the achachiro tree, obviously. That's it's, you know, big for most people, but kind of small for us. Not tiny, but small. But next to it, I plant direct sowed Lindero, Garcinia Lindero seeds. Look at all those mosquitoes. Can you see those? Thousands of mosquitoes here right now. And this is a Brazilian cherapoo seedling. I want these all to cross-pollinate, and I want them to fuse together, and so that's why I planted them so close together. I want to have natural varieties created because of the close proximity I plant them in. It should be possible. So I have some. My friend Scott gave me some Annona seeds, and I think that could be the Annona that he gave me. They're a different variety of Annona deliciosa, so a specialized variety. I forget what it was, sorry. But he gave me some seeds, and I was thinking that those are sugar apple seeds, but I'm thinking now that they're probably the Rollinia seeds, because that's the last thing I planted in that pot. It's got to be what it is. So in here I have Annona cariaceae, which is supposed to be a really good fruit. The trees are have glossy leaves, much like large leaves, but glossy like guanabana or soursop. And here's another one. I have two different types, the giant orange and some other one. And I'm looking for the third one here, right here. But they get very nice, and they grow in the Cerrado region of Brazil, so they can grow in dry, arid savannas. So I don't have to worry about them in the dry periods, short dry periods we get here in Florida. I don't really worry about it anyway. It seems everything grows well in Florida, dry farming. You just have to focus on the soil health, because drought is a form of abiotic stress, and if you have soil health, your plant's brain is working correctly, because the soil is the gut system of the plant. And if you don't have a healthy soil system, you're never going to have a healthy plant. It's a little coffee tree. Coffee, I'm positive, could be a commercial crop here. So I mentioned that people are wanting a Garcinia seed. So these are the, my friend Frank was here. He got a whole bunch of intermediate fruit yesterday, but there's still like gobs of fruit on these trees, and probably it's going to start blooming again. It just continuously blooms. Very nice plant. My coloc, the giant it's like a giant longan, Talicia florescii. It's the creatures have been eating all the new growth on it, but I see it's got new growth now, and they haven't touched it. Knock on wood, I'll knock on my head that doesn't happen. But it looks like it's going to make it. So I complained that the that the Annonas salzmanii seeds didn't germinate, but it certainly looks like they're coming up right here. So maybe that's not them, but I had 2 of them and that's what's in there. So I'm thinking, so those are the giant Annonas salzmanii seeds from Anderson Tropical. They were $20 each, so I only bought 1 of each. And they seem to be doing quite well. I'm quite happy about it. So I'm going to work my way over to those sugar apples. I'm doing that. This is a video on Annonas. I just get sidetracked when I'm walking through here, looking at stuff, because I like to look every day and make sure stuff is still alive and well. I keep waiting for this cacao to start blooming again, but it seems to bloom in the winter here. It seems to do a lot of growth. We had atypical dieback this year during the drought of this tree that's been here for 8 years. It's a tree that I grew from seed, from a tree that I fruited in, that has been fruiting for 13 years straight in Brevard County, being dry farmed. So I'm not sure if they're still there, but possibly they are. I stopped talking to those people for some reason. Oh, it is starting to bloom. Yay! I see flower right here. So I was right. It's going to start flowering in the fall. And this little tree gave us 30 fruit last year. In fact, these are the seeds from it. So that's 2nd generation dry farmed cacao. That's what this is. These are the star apple alva seeds from my friend Frank. I planted 3. He gave me 20. No, I think he gave me a lot. He gave me a lot of seeds, but I think only 5 of them came up. I thought it was 20. Maybe he gave me 20. It was a lot of seeds. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Annette. But 5 of them, but they seem to do quite well. I'm going to divide those Ilama trees, and that's an Annona diversifolia that he gave me, and put them in bigger pots until they get a little bit bigger. I didn't always trust moving plants into pots and up-potting them, but just to be safe, and I have such faith in our compost that we grow our seeds in, that I'm sure that I can grow them healthy and it's not going to hinder their health. Maybe I'll put 1 out there just to test, to see what it's like, because normally I plant trees when they're this big, like citrus. Definitely I plant that small, but stuff that's struggled in the past, here's a achitiro. I kind of baby along if I only have a few trees of it, like the cariaceae. I divided those into individual pots and up-potted them, but they seem like they can go in the ground. I think they're ready. This was that Eric Sweet lemon drop, and it only produces 1 crop a year. It's a hybrid. I'm not sure between which 2, but it has leaves like a achitiro. It's one of the only New World Garcinias that doesn't continuously bloom. In fact, I think a lot of the Old World Garcinias, I know the African mangosteen could continuously fruit here, but it will continuously bloom and set fruit, but it will drop its fruit during times of drought. I just want to look at this little achitiro seedling I planted from last year, because it just was getting so big all of a sudden. There it is. That's 1-year-old growth. It's 20 inches tall from seeds from last year, dry farming. Dry farming is more beneficial for your trees if they want to overcome freeze events. So if you're a zone pusher, getting your tree to function naturally would be beneficial to its immune response system. because that's all it is. And everyone thinks it's nutrients and they just focus on NPK or the micronutrients or stuff like that. Well, a lot of those things are pollutants, and if you're watering, a lot of that is polluted. So that's hinders your plant's ability to, because it just causes dysbiosis, not only in the soil, but in the mitochondria of your tree from the pollutants. And the heavy metals that are in a lot of the mine substances, or the micronutrients, or the rock dust, or the lime, or in fertilizers, because they're made from industrial waste, cause mitochondrial damage, which are mutagenic changes that create mutagenic changes that prevent your plant to function optimally. So keeping plants in plastic pots, or even starting them in plastic pots in like coco coir or peat with water soluble fertilizers. This is the seashore mangosteen. What a nice fruit it is. I like it better than achachiro. I hate to say that, but I do. It has more flavor. It has a good seed ratio. When it's red and you let it sit on the counter for a couple days, it gets very sweet. Has an acid component to it, but it's not a sour, and it smells like bananas and pineapples. It's just, I don't know, does pineapple have a scent? If it did, that's what it would smell like. So I have a limited supply of these, and I said I wasn't going to sell them, but when people reach out to me, I do offer them. But when I say very limited, I'm talking one per fruit per person. And so it's like first come, first serve, and $7 per fruit, but people sell the seeds for like $8 to $10 each or more. And these are fresh seeds and probably going to produce female plants because they're unpollinated. And I don't know that for sure, but chances are. Anyway, so I've been offering those at $7 each. And this is the Garcinia gardneriana, and very limited on this because it wasn't a huge crop and people have been getting them. Like I said, my friend Frank was here, so he picked a lot of fruit, not a lot of these. But these are $4 each. The intermediate is $4 each, and the Braziliensis is $4 each. Good fruit. Okay, I'm gonna get over the Annonas. Boy, look at this oil nut tree. Beautiful tree. Okay. For some reason, I thought this tree was a cacao. Sometimes I wonder about my abilities. And then I thought it was first I thought it was an Atemoya. Then I thought it was a cacao. Well, it's obviously not a cacao. I can't believe I even thought that. And then my friend Dan from A Tree For Me, he works at A Tree For Me, and he has a nice food forest, and he dry farms, and he uses zebu manure, and has come by here a lot, and likes to grow naturally, obviously, pretty much just like this. Just probably slightly different, because not two systems should be the same, or two systems should not be the same. But he says this is a Rollinia, and I guess he's right. I just don't remember planting a Rollinia here, but maybe it sat here and just didn't grow forever and ever and ever, but it did drop its leaves like a Rollinia would, but it kept its leaves in the winter. So it's probably not an Atemoya, so it's probably a Rollinia. He's probably right, it's definitely not a custard apple, but the leaves are awful big for such a little tree, and Rollinia I thought grew more upright, but I don't know. I'm just gonna have to defer to him because He works in a nursery and probably is better at plant ID than I am. If I had marked these when I planted them, it might help, but I don't do that. I don't worry about it until after they fruit, and then I say, oh, that's this. There's a little seedling mulberry, because my friend Frank breeds mulberries. There's an orange crush jackfruit that had a lot of fruit on it, had a lot of flowers on it, and during the drought, it dropped all its fruit. It did not drop its leaves like all the other trees during drought. But I imagine it's gonna start flowering again soon. And I had that jackfruit that I showed in my last video, a seed-grown jackfruit. It ended up being a lemon variety. I'm not sure if the fruit is medium, because the fruit was bigger than a small type, but it was very good. It wasn't a crunchy type. There's an Annona, this is a Atemoya. I believe it's a Gefner Atemoya. Not our biggest Atemoya tree, but we do have a lot of seedlings of this. And I should look at that custard apple, since I'm starting on this end of the the Annonas. So this is 12th Street, so all along that street I have sugar apples. I just got a big pail of sugar apples. They've been very good. I've had people stop by and drive up our driveway wanting to buy sugar apples. We sell by appointment only, and so you have to look at the About section of my YouTube channel and get my contact information that way. You could text my email, or you could text my phone number, or you could email me. But texting works on my email also. But this is the Annona reticulata, and a custard apple, and it's got some flowers on it. This tree has not flowered for us yet. This tree will hang on to its leaves until drought comes, so it'll hang on to them all winter long. Seems unaffected by drought. Has a lot of big flowers on it, which I think will possibly translate into fruit. It looks very healthy. It's growing here with these bananas. I've got about 450 divides I did on bananas. I wanted to get up to 800, but I stopped dividing them recently, or not recently, probably about February. I guess that wasn't recent. So yeah, there's sugar apples. So I need to come here with my bucket and get them. And so I'll do that after this video is over. The longans, I've been coming by here and picking them every time I get sugar apples. I eat a longan. This is tree shampoo. The longan should be bigger, but it's a small tree. Small trees produce small fruit for the most part. I'm just glad to get fruit off of it. So I see some sugar apples here that look ready to be picked. It's a major job picking sugar apples, because I have to bring the ladder out. These look ready. These are all chewy, easy peel and the dye sugar apples. Some have a little anthracnose on them, but the anthracnose doesn't seem to affect anything. Definitely doesn't affect the flavor. Probably in a positive way it affects the flavor, but I'm seeing a lot of fruit and nice sized sugar apples on these trees, and I just got a huge bucket 2 days ago, so the sugar apples are doing their thing. This tree has a lot of fruit on it. I see lots of fruit up there. I see lots of fruit over here. Yeah, I definitely need to bring me. Oh, this is a chewy red sugar apple. So I prefer the chewy sugar apples. I can't tell a difference between the red fruit and the green fruit as far as flavor goes, but it's just me. I know some of you can, I believe you. It's just, that's how I feel. I can't tell a difference. My partner can't tell a difference. I've done a blind taste test with them, and they can't tell a difference, and neither can I. And but this is a seed-grown chewy red sugar apple that produced fruit. I know it's chewy red because it did produce a fruit once, but it's not got any fruit on it. The red sugar apples don't produce as good as the green sugar apples. And I can say that positively because we've got a lot of red sugar apples and they just never have produced good. And if they taste the same, why not get the sugar apple that produces well? And a lot of people will just think, oh, I just need one tree, like these people that came by recently to buy sugar apples, came down my driveway. We have no sign. Then my friend Carson made us a logo. We're getting ready to put up a gate because we have too many people coming by here now and just driving in wanting fruit, because they drive by and they see all this fruit along the road and assume we have sugar apples for sale. Which technically we should, but I'm not a real gung-ho fruit salesperson, so this is like our personal food forest. But since we have so much fruit, I do mail order, sell fruit. But they came by here, they live in Vero, they have a farm, and people contact them for sugar apples. This is a green sugar apple, and they say they don't have any. They have one tree and the fruits are tiny. And I'm thinking, well, how can you have a farm with one freaking sugar apple tree? Because I know we have 100 and we don't have unlimited non-stop sugar apples. You think you would with 100 trees. So I couldn't imagine what. And don't tell me we don't get fruit because we grow naturally. We get lots of fruit, just that they don't produce tons of fruit. This is an Atemoya called Lisa. And I see it's got fruit on it. Atemoya's probably my favorite Annona. It fruits later in the year. It's got some big flowers on it, so I imagine it's going to produce a lot of fruit. This tree is sprawling and big. Finally, it's taken a while to get there, but I do see more than a bucket load of sugar apples. There's one that's ripe. I could eat it when I pick it. It's too high to reach, but there's so many freaking sugar apples on these trees. Yeah, so these people come by here and they like have a farm, and I'm like, what do you grow? Oh, we grow avocados and mangoes. And then they say, well, people contact us and they're coming by to get sugar apples, but we don't have any. Can we get some sugar apples? So they're coming by here. I said, well, I'll trade you avocados for, unfortunately they grow conventionally. They go, we don't use very many chemicals. Here's a Annona reticulata. I said, well, it doesn't matter how many you use. A little is probably as bad as a lot. In fact, I know it is. Just like a little air pollution can be just as bad as a lot of air pollution. It's just all bad. A little polluted water is just as bad as a lot of polluted water. You just need a molecule to get the cancer or whatever from it. So you could probably breathe it in. And if you're not taking care of yourself, wind up with cancer. But anyway, so I find it funny that they contact them to get sugar apples. They come by here to get fruit or seeds. It's like the food forest people. And then they go elsewhere and bring it home and sell it to other people. Bizarre. Here's an Annona diversifolia. This was that bicolor. Something's attacking it like crazy. It looks pretty okay. Better than it did look, but it looks okay. This tree is like one of the biggest sugar apples we have, and it has 0 fruit on it, which is very strange. But yet right next to it is the one that's half the size, and it's loaded with fruit. You just never know. This is the Annona diversifolia, a llama tree. That was the Annona diversifolia bicolor from my friends in Oviedo, I think, or Orlando. Stella on YouTube. And here's some more sugar apples. And here's a sugar apple this is like a typical fruit of ours. So just so you get an idea of what these sugar apples are like. I missed that Annona reticulata. I need to go look at it. Did I mention it? But look at that sugar apple. Very nice. Plump. A little bit of anthracnose spots, but not horrible. Some can be covered black, but I'm positive that the flavor is better. I've tasted anthracnose-laced sugar apples, and I've tasted non-anthracnose sugar apples, and they're really have a little more flavor than anthracnose ones. But I could be imagining it. I don't know. Maybe I should do a blind taste test. This is Annona reticulata also. I don't see any flowers on it. It's not as big as the other one. Oh, there's a flower. Yay! There's a couple flowers. Could they cross with the Annona squamosa, the sugar apple? Probably. Could they cross with the Annona diversifolia, the Ilamas? Possibly. Annonas can be very finicky, so if you see one and it doesn't look good, probably you should move it. I should probably move that Ilama diversifolia because it just doesn't look happy, the bicolor. This one looks great, but here's our sugar apples again. Here's that tree I got this sugar apple off of. I see a little tiny one right here that could be ripe. It's tiny. Not typical of my sugar apples, but I want to eat it because they're so good. Even the little tiny ones are good. Oh my God. Chewy sweetness. So good. Here's an Annona diversifolia. Ilama. More sugar apples. This one I missed. Not too bad. I've been good about coming by here and getting them. So I see one up there that's doing good. So here's another Atemoya tree. This one I believe is Priestley. So we grow 3 different types of Atemoyas. We grow Priestley, we grow Gefner, and we grow Lisa. I like Lisa. I used to not like it, but I like Lisa. But I like the Priestley the best. It produces very well. Supposedly you need to self-pollinate, but we don't pollinate anything here. And it produces a lot of fruit, and it's good. It's a delicious, very flavorful. I found Gefner to be a good producer with big fruit, but it doesn't have it's not the flavor bomb of the Priestley, or, it's just not as good. But the Priestley's been producing good for us. All of our seedling trees that I have, and we have quite a few seedling trees that I planted, and our Priestley, because that's the tree that I like the fruit the best. I like the Lisa too, but I like the Gefner. I like them all. So there's a big Atemoya fruit there. There's some on these trees I need to get. I have to go get the ladder. So I'm going to look at a couple of seedling Atemoyas because I know where they're at, and then wind this video up. Work my way through this jungle. The mangoes in here have been getting quite large, finally. I planted a bunch more seedlings in here, but I do not see them popping up yet. But we're looking for Annonas, the Annona squamosa Atemoya cross. There's a cashew seedling. Anyway, so I did plant some Atemoyas along here, and some of them may have succumbed. That's just how it goes. That's why you keep throwing plants at a system in something like this. It's just, you know, stuff just can die, or stuff can get eaten from the bottom up. And here's one. Looks very good. Dragonfly, thank God, because it was like the worst mosquito season I've ever seen here, and it's just horrible. Here's a big guava tree covered in fruit, covered Ruby Supreme. There's a big chachiro. This tree is definitely getting big enough where next year it's going to produce fruit. Well, probably like a year from now, I would say. Maybe. Or the year after. It's just on the cusp, but I need to find the other Atemoyas because I know they're in here. I know there's some through here, but I see one right here, growing next to this banana. Looks very healthy. Looks like a Priestley. But anyway, things are looking good. It's sugar apple season, everyone. Annona squamosa time. Sorry. Anyway, I'm Eric at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm, and this is Florida Natural Farming. And that's our videos on the Annonas genus of plants. Annona diversifolia, Annona mucosa, Annona deliciosa, Annona cariaceae, Annona salzmanii, Annona I said that. Annona squamosa, Atemoya cross, the Atemoya, and Annona reticulata. I hope you have an excellent day. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment. If you want fruit, Garcinia fruit, we got it. We'll have more like MB, I'm sure, because our MB started producing two big crops a year. So we have 3 MB trees producing now. I think we have 200 or 300 MB trees growing here now. So we should have literally hundreds of them, or thousands of fruit in the future. Just there's no stopping this place, and it can be very profitable growing naturally. It costs nothing, basically. Have an excellent day, and leave a nice comment.